Hey guys, and happy Wednesday. Hope everybody's having a great day and a great week. Just wanted to answer a question. It'd be a good topic to talk about. It's a question I get asked frequently, and that's how do I stay in contest shape year round? Now, while I do believe that it's very easy to stay in good shape year round, anybody can do it. I tend to lean more towards being in contest shape for the majority of the year, where it would take me about 4 weeks to actually get, in contest shape and compete at the highest level. Now, how do I do that? Many people think I actually starve myself, which is far from the truth. My total calories for the day, I'm 155 to 160 pounds. I'm 5'4", some might argue I'm 5'3". I consume about 3,000 calories a day, give or take, depending on how I feel. And I consume very high protein amount. So first thing people think about when they hear protein is protein powders, right? The whey proteins and the beef proteins and the soy proteins, and that's not necessarily what I mean. I consume more of a higher meat diet, so lean cuts of meat, red meat. I do turkey breast. I like turkey breast. I don't do chicken. I do fish. I do a lot of fish. Um, My diet consists mostly of about a 50% protein, 30% carbohydrate, and 20% fats, or 25% carbohydrate, 25% fats. And I found this to be very efficient for me. Now, there are times, depending on my metabolism, where my carbohydrates will be pretty high, and high for my body type, for me personally, which could be low for someone else. On a daily basis, I consume anywhere between 100 to 200 grams of carbohydrates from starchy carbs and fruits. Um, I might go as high as 250, but in my opinion, that's a little too much because I've trained and I've competed and I've um, set some pretty good numbers in training on 100 grams of carbs per day. So I don't necessarily believe that carbohydrates are needed in a very high amount, at least for me. Now, when you have a very high protein diet, it definitely takes away from carbohydrates since carbohydrates are protein sparing. So I believe I get a lot of my energy from that high amount of protein, which in reality some might argue and say it's not good to eat that much protein and that little carbs because then your body starts relying on amino acids for energy or breakdown of amino acids. So, over the course of the 3, 4 years that I've been strictly dieting, I've definitely followed a more higher protein diet. When I got ready for 2016 Nationals, I mean, I was ready, pretty much the whole year, and my carbs on a consistent basis never went over 175 grams. I found that 175 grams is around the sweet spot for me for training, and I did this by consuming the majority of my carbs around training and only around training, meaning before, during, and after training. The rest of my diet was, pretty standard protein, fats, vegetables. Um, Definitely don't overdo the vegetables, in my opinion. Some might argue and say, vegetables are key. Of course, vegetables are key, but when you want to talk about absorption and finding the right diet and digestion, doing too much of anything is not good for you. So, about 100 grams of vegetables per meal is definitely good enough, at least for me, of dark leafy greens. And, at times I'll throw in some tomatoes and onions and whatnot, have a variety. So, in general, I believe that the key to being in top shape is, first of all, is having a lot of muscle on your frame, right? So a lot of people do not look good when they diet down because they look small, and that's simply because they don't have a lot of muscle mass. So someone like me at 155 pounds, 160 pounds at 5'3", 5'4", I pack a decent amount of muscle mass. So no matter how much I diet, when I pose, when I compete, my body comes to life, and that's because of the amount of muscle mass that I have for my frame. Now, could I work up to 180 pounds, 190 pounds? Sure, but it's definitely not going to be all muscle. So I found that at this stage in my life, I'm 30 years old, or I'll be 30 years old in April, I get paid to look a certain way. I do, and this is what pays me, so I gotta look my absolute best at all times. And many will argue and say, "Oh, that's not true. You don't need to do that." I believe I do, and it's very easy to pack on weight. So why do that? When people look at me and they see that I look just like everybody else, it's not very appealing to the eye. But when you look different, you're in top shape, it's always appealing. It's interesting. People want to know, hey, what does it take to look like that? So, in my opinion, I don't want people to look at me and say, I want to look like you. I want people to say, give me some ideas of how I should eat and how I should train, and I'd definitely be, happy to assist each person. That's what I believe that people's goals should be, is to always look their absolute best. Don't look like me. Try to look better. So, kind of ventured off topic here, but back to what I was trying to say is that, for me, balance is key. And many people will sit there and tell you the keto diet and the high carb diet and doing all these fancy things, and that's the secret. Guys, there is no secret. It's all BS. Depending on your hormone levels, depending on, where you're at and how much body fat you hold, pretty much any diet can work to an extent. So, someone who's over 15% body fat, I don't recommend a super high carb diet. Someone who loses weight very easy, like myself, I definitely advise you to follow a balanced diet where you're getting a good amount of protein. Protein is very important for its thermic effect. Carbohydrates for energy around your training, and fats. Fats in the range of zero point 0.4 to zero point 0.5 grams per pound of body weight or lean body mass is very important. For your hair, nails, skin, hormone. And water intake, which I've been huge on for many, many years, even before I ever thought about bodybuilding. And people used to knock me for that and say, too much water is not good for you. Too much water is good for you. Okay? So, that's what I do, guys. Higher protein diet, moderate carbohydrate, moderate to lower fat, not very high fats. And it definitely works for me. It takes me about 4 weeks to get in contest shape. No more, no less. That's if I'm already not in shape. So that's what I do, guys. I give myself one cheat meal per week. Every week, no matter what it was. I mean, I slammed a whole pizza and 2 burgers, a couple weeks out from my last show for Nationals. So, cheat meals are very important for me, but it doesn't mean that they're important for you. It doesn't mean that your body needs them. You need to take the time to learn. I took the time to learn and figure out what my body needed. I took the time to dissect my body from different avenues. I started with a very low dose of carbohydrates around training, and I slowly, gradually increased them to see how receptive my body would be, and it worked. So, take the time, guys. I never followed anybody's diets. Of course, we learn from each other. We get ideas. My friend Matt helps. This person helped me. That person has helped me, give me some ideas. But at the end of the day, it's your body, and you need to apply what you will need in order to achieve your best results. Trust me, and what diet you followed a year ago is not going to work today because the body's ever changing. So, my opinion, guys, find what works for you. Take the time. Give yourself about 6 to 8 weeks and take your time and figure it out. The problem is there's too much information out there and people don't know what to look for. So that's what I do, guys. Chances are most people don't even know, but most people can't even relate to the way I eat because, I eat different than most people. And in my opinion, another thing too, and I think everybody should follow this, on days you do not train, do not consume any carbohydrates. I used to do this 3 years ago, and people used to knock me for it. Cut your carbohydrates on rest days. Jack them up on leg days. All right, guys, hope this helps. Take care.